Whispers presents you Top 3 Disturbing, True Instagram, Horror Stories.
I was at school during lunchtime and showing my friends my first phone that I got for my birthday, and they suggested downloading an app called Instagram, and so, of course, I downloaded the app and made my account, and I started posting very unique high-quality pictures, and I was getting about 70 to 80 likes on my photos. I was so proud of myself until I posted a picture of myself and got a decent amount of likes, and after that, I got comments saying how cute I look and so on, until someone said, "You're so fucking hot," and I didn't think too much about it and went on with my day. The next morning I get a text message from Instagram. It was from Weirdo_Boa1, the person who commented on my photo, and said, "So you live in Desert Hot Springs, eh?" And I replied with, "How do you know where I live and who are you?" I asked and they said, "Let's just say I will be seeing you around, handsome." After that, I told my parents. We went to the police station and reported it, but the police said they couldn't do anything since no actual harm was done, and so my parents said to not block this person because they might give more evidence. The next day after school I receive a text from the same person. It was a picture of my school saying, "Where are you?" Automatically I knew it was my friends pranking me. I told them to stop messing around with me, but they had no idea what I was talking about, so we reported it to the police again. And this time they took the action of this, and after that, I didn't get a text from that person. 2 years later, I received a text at 3 in the morning from Weirdo_Boa1 that sounded very familiar. I said to myself, and I looked at the message. It said, "You thought you could fucking get rid of me that easy." Wait. I said to myself, this is the person who sends these disturbing texts to me from 2 years ago. I also noticed that my window was open and my closet door as well. What scared me the most was someone wrote on my closet door with red lipstick saying, "I see you." I screamed until my lungs were burning. My parents come bursting into my room saying, "What the hell is going on?" I explained to them. When they called 911, we went outside the house in the front yard. Finally 10 minutes later, when the police arrived, they went into the house. After a while they pulled out a woman, very disgusting looking, and the police also found a knife, duct tape, ropes, and condoms that were hidden in my bathroom next to my bedroom. Luckily I'm fine and I wasn't harmed. I'm sharing my story to warn other people about the internet and how many creeps are out there. Just be careful to any stranger who starts talking to you.
When I was in 8th, 10th grade, I was extremely involved in this small building server. The average age was probably 15 to 17, and I joined a group of builders and Skyped with them every weekend for hours. We all became close fast and trusted each other enough that we followed each other on Instagram. I became particularly close with one of the builders in my friend group named Peter. Peter was in the same grade as me and we ended up texting quite a lot. I heard rumors that Peter might have a crush on me. He denied them, which I found laughable cause it was the internet, and brushed it off. Everything was fine for a while until something began to feel off when I talked to him. I was starting to constantly catch him telling small lies. This bothered me, so I figured it was time to distance myself from Peter and stop talking to him. Cut to a few months later of no contact, and Peter out of the blue texts me that he's going to be possibly transferring to my high school so he can get in-state tuition for college. Peter's plan is to somehow live completely alone and support himself while in high school. My stomach drops when I read the text, and I know this feels very, very off. I try to be calm and I tell him that his plan is crazy. I tell him that it's oddly convenient that he chose my random suburb. Peter insists that his plan will work and it's just a coincidence that he is going to my HS. I'm trying to call Peter's bluff and hoping he is just screwing with me because I cut him off. Peter says he bought the plane tickets already and is going to stay in my town and to visit some high school in the area. Fear washes over me and I realize Peter definitely has some very unhealthy attachment to me. Peter was not bluffing. To my horror, he posts a picture on Snapchat at the airport. Peter asks to meet up while he's there and I of course decline. Later, I see on his Snapchat story that he is taking a tour of my high school. Peter is taking lots of videos and pictures, probably hoping that I can see. Luckily, I am stuck at home with pneumonia. I spend the next few days on edge and afraid he was going to ring my doorbell at any moment. Luckily, he was not smart enough to find where I live and he flies home and does not follow his plan. The baffling part was none of my old group on the Minecraft server thought he'd doing anything creepy. I felt like I was going crazy for thinking this was weird. I thought my rejection for this meetup, and continued no contact, would be the end of it, but about 2 years later and I just committed to my dream college. I still, stupidly, followed Peter on social media because I wanted some warning if he came to my area. Once again Peter did. I see him posing in front of the library at my college with the caption saying, "Transferring here is definitely the move." Cut to a few months later, Peter finds out I had a boyfriend and directly contacts me for the first time in 2 years. He starts asking strange questions like, "Will he protect you?" I shouldn't have answered, but for some reason I did. I finally blocked him and stopped following him on social media out of fear. He has not tried to contact me since. Definitely made some mistakes because I was young and scared and had others telling me it was not a big deal. So, Peter, let's not meet. Curtains were invented for a reason, everyone. I had this posted somewhere else and it was suggested I post here, finally getting around to it. Here's my let's not meet experience. I'm a girl and this happened when I was 20 in the early 2000s. People used landlines and cell phones were not unlimited. This happened in a town about an hour away from Sacramento. My friend was house sitting for a family that her family was friends with from church. She was to house sit in the country just outside of town for a week. They had animals like cats, rabbits, a donkey, and a horse. The family also had dogs too, but the family took the dogs with them. My friend was in charge of feeding the animals and watching the place. She didn't have to get the mail daily because they had this metal lockbox-style mailbox down their long driveway. They didn't have any neighbors for miles, just fields of alfalfa, cattle, and corn, so I guess the lockbox was for safety. Towards the end of the week, she asked if I wanted to spend the night and keep her company, and I thought it sounded fun. I had moved out of my aunts and uncles and gotten my own apartment, so I told her I'd pick her up on the way thereafter. I got out of work. We got there around 9:30 p.m., grabbing dinner on the way. We went into the barn first thing and fed the animals. It was late for their dinner and they made their hunger known with their animal noises. We made sure they had water, then went inside. The house was this big ranch-style house. Single story. The living room was to the left as you walked into the home. There was a long hallway directly to the right of the entrance that leads to where the bathroom and bedrooms were. Straight ahead was a dining area, and to the left of that was the kitchen area and a patio door. They did not have an open floor plan. In the kitchen, on the opposite side from the dining area, was a long hall that had several doors. My friend explained that the wife ran a daycare center out of the house. These rooms were playing areas for the kids she took care of. We didn't bother going over there because we had no interest. We watched some TV, ate our leftovers and talked about people we knew. As it got later, she turned on the house alarm and said she didn't like sleeping in other people's beds, so she had been sleeping on the couch, then offered it to me. She would sleep on one of the 2 huge recliners that reclined so far back it was almost flat. The chairs were really comfortable, so I just said I'd take the chair. I went and laid back in a chair with my blanket. We turned off the TV and were talking for maybe 20 minutes in the dark when the motion sensor floodlights started shining through the window, lighting up the room.
Now, I really have no idea why people in the country think it's okay not to have curtains or blinds, because to me that's insane. We both got quiet and Amanda says, maybe it was one of the cats.
Then we start hearing gravel crunch, like a person walking across the gravel in the parking area outside. My chair was closest to the window and I slid carefully down to the floor, clutching the stupid blanket the whole time. The floodlight timed out and my friend slid to the floor too. We laid on our stomachs in the dark, not knowing what to do for a minute, when we heard a loud bang and, all of a sudden, the house alarm started blaring and the floodlights turned on again. It was so loud we covered our ears and I started to panic. I swear I have never been so close to peeing my pants in my life. I began crawling towards the keypad for the security because I've seen the commercials. There's a button you push and a person responds to you in case of an emergency or at least sends the police. The main screen says patio 1 of 2 open. Amanda starts to cry a little and hits the call assistance button on the pad and nothing happens. There's no assistance. I ask her where the phone is and she says there's a phone in the kitchen and one in the parents' room down the hall. So our choices are to go to the kitchen past the windows and next to one of the patio doors, or to go down the hall to the parents' room and use the phone there. I asked her where the other patio is and she said it was in the daycare part of the house. It was an easy decision. We go inside the parents' room and it's pitch black. I ask her where's the phone and she says, I think we have to turn on a light. I really don't want to turn on a light, but have no choice. I don't have a flashlight and I didn't bring my cell because I had limited minutes. It was a simpler time and Amanda didn't even get her own cell until after this happened. She turns on the light and we start looking around the room. Not only did these people not have curtains on any window, but they didn't even have closet doors. We see a golf club leaning against the wall by the bed. They probably have it instead of a baseball bat, which is what I had next to my bed at home. We figure if we hit someone with it, it's gonna leave a mark. She grabs it and we continue our search for the phone. Looking at the obvious places, we find a cordless phone stand, minus the actual phone. The alarm is still raging, we have a light on and the person who opened the patio door is bound to notice is all I'm thinking at this point. She asks, should we use the locate phone buttons? I look at her and respond, yeah, if you want some strange guy coming in here with it and asking us if we were looking for something. I am getting mad that I'm scared and in this situation. Standing there knowing that we have to go to the kitchen, the house alarm stops. It gets country quiet. If you've lived in the country, you know what I'm talking about. There isn't another golf club for me to grab, so I make her go out first, flipping every light on and keeping the doors we pass in the hall closed. We double-check the security panel and it still says patio open. Hit the call button and it still doesn't work. Double-checking the front door is locked, we start for the kitchen. I tell her we have to check the patio near the kitchen and I grab a big knife that wasn't even close to being sharp from the kitchen. We check the patio door near the kitchen and it's locked. We turn on all the lights and grab the phone and dial 911. The phone isn't a cordless phone, it's one of the old ones with a cord attached to a wall. My friend is on the phone with a dispatcher telling her what happened and I hear a whistle coming from outside the kitchen window. The thing people don't think about, because I didn't in my thinking that safety was turning on the lights, is, while you have the reflection of the inside on the window, people on the outside have a clear view of you. Unless you press your face against the window. I hear the whistle again. It sounds like someone trying to get someone else's attention kind of whistle, but I don't see anything outside, and I'm not pressing my face to the window to see if I'm the person they're whistling for. My friend is still talking to the dispatcher and is crying and saying she doesn't have the address to the house. She hands me the phone and I say, hello? The dispatcher lady, who sounds annoyed, tells me she needs an address to send police to. I asked that she trace the call and she says something like, "Your house sitting and you don't even know where you're at." Scared, angry and overwhelmed, I hand the phone back to Amanda and start looking for something with an address in the kitchen. I'm looking for in the junk drawer, on the counter, on the refrigerator. Fully keeping an eye down the hall that has the daycare rooms. Knowing that on the other side of one of those doors is a patio door that was opened. Amanda tells the lady that she doesn't pick up the mail because of their lockbox, and then a few seconds later removes the phone from her ear and stares at me with a blank face. I ask her if they're tracing the call, because I cannot find anything with an address. Amanda tells me, she said I hope the police find you in time, and hung up the phone. I was now really scared and angry at the same time. We knew that there were people outside. We knew that the patio door to the daycare area was opened. We did not know what to do. We stood in the kitchen silent for what seemed like forever, but was probably 1 minute. I picked up the phone and dialed 411. I told Amanda that they would have the number to the police department. As calmly as I could, I explained what was happening to us to 411. I included the 911 dispatcher and said we really needed the phone number of the town's police department. When we heard a huge metal bang outside the kitchen window by the patio door, it sounded like someone dropped something metal and heavy. Amanda started crying and I couldn't hold in my fear anymore and started crying too. The 411 operator said they were connecting us and would stay on the line with us after getting pissed at the 911 dispatcher on our behalf. A police officer answered the phone and the 411 operator started explaining what was happening to the police. They were asked to disconnect once we had an established connection. The police asked a few questions and we heard the whistle again outside and floodlights all around the house turned on again. I was too scared to look outside, and we had never turned on the patio light, because we had to walk past the patio window to get to the switch. We told the policeman on the phone about the whistle and he said that there should be several policemen showing up shortly and to stay on the phone. We were just outside the town limits and knew it might take a few minutes. Having an officer on the phone made me feel a little better, but I was still really scared. He told us that the police arrived and were coming up the drive. The policeman said to put down the phone and open the door, so I did. What I saw was a police pickup truck with spotlights flashing into the pastures that ran along both sides of the drive. 2 officers, not with handguns, but with shotguns, walking slowly beside the truck as it came up the long drive. 4 officers approached the house asking us our names. 1 went to the phone and said they were here and hung up the phone. They ordered us to stay in the dining room and began searching the house and property. 1 by 1 they returned. The last one came back in through the patio door by the kitchen. He said he searched the barn and the horse scared him and the horse also looked spooked. He asked what other animals were in the barn. They told us they didn't find anyone and that the daycare patio was not locked. There was, however, a broom handle in the track to prevent it from being opened too far. I looked at the patio door that the officer entered in and saw there was not a broom handle in that one, then felt dumb because he just walked through it. They lectured Amanda about not knowing the address of the house she was supposed to be responsible for, and other stuff I don't remember. After finishing statements they said they'd stick around and look more, and if we wanted to leave we could. They could lock the bottom lock, but not activate the alarm, and we were cool with that. We were out of there so fast. We got into my car and went to her mom's. So mentally exhausted we fell asleep and I went to my office job the next morning. She said she really didn't want to go back to the house, but she had to feed the animals their breakfast. Her mom told her to take her sister and she did. That afternoon she called me at work. She was really nervous and began telling me that when they went into the house there were footprints in poop on the carpet. I said it was probably the cop that checked the barn. She said that she didn't know or pay attention. Also, she said that when they went into the barn to feed and water the animals in the morning someone had tied all the rabbits' legs together in their hutches. They had 10 rabbits the kids used for 4-H. Amanda then continues to say there was a note with the word "Lucky" scribbled on the back of a pizza coupon she thought came from the refrigerator door because the flyer was missing a coupon. It took a while for them to untie the rabbits and Amanda asked her mom to find someone else from their church to finish the house sitting. She wasn't going back. She also told the officer what she came back to. But no one was ever caught and the police never called either of us to update us. TL, doctor? With a friend while she house sat at a small farm that had a DIY daycare and no curtains on any window while people, who were talented whistlers, were actively breaking in. 911 said I hope they find you in time. 411 are rock stars. Someone stepped in poop and got it on the carpet. Someone used the good pizza coupon.
But we're lucky, so it's okay.
Thanks for watching. Do like, share, and subscribe.